This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is March 10th, 2025. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host Kevin Tucker. And Kevin, we get to record coming off a win for the first time in what feels like 2 months. How are you?
Wow, it's amazing. A win, but then, Jonathan, an L for all of the United States, or at least the places that still do this time change thing. Yeah. Like we were just talking about, can we just like pick a time and just stick with it? Because like my body is not very happy today. I'm tired, but not grumpy because the Magic won, so I'll take it.
I'm looking back. Our last recording after a win was the Wizards game, which, you know, that's a good win. We also had another one right before the All-Star break against Charlotte. When was the last time we had like a good win? February 5th at Sacramento, we recorded after that game. That was a good one. Before that, dude, Sunday, January 12th, after we beat Philadelphia. And yeah, man, it's been a rough last couple of months of recording games after wins. So we're going to cherish this one. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about the win against Milwaukee on Saturday night. Unfortunately, we also will have to talk about the loss to Chicago on Thursday. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Really quickly, just wanted to remind you all that this coming Friday, we are going to be at Stadium Club, located over there at Caribe Royale Orlando, located at 8101 World Center Drive. One of the best venues that we will do a watch party at, you know, this year, probably ever. Just awesome place, awesome vibes, great food, awesome environment, just a really cool spot. The whole gang is going to be in the building. I'll be there. Yeah. Kevin's going to be there. Luke is going to be there. Matt is going to be there. Sam is going to be there. Ben's going to be there. Like literally the whole squad. I don't even remember. Was it the playoffs last year where you, myself, and Luke were all together?
Yeah, but not all of us. Like I don't think all of us were there at the same time. So
no, just me, you, and Luke. I don't. Yeah, the rest of the team. Yeah. I think this is gonna be the first time the entire team has all been together. Like,
correct.
I don't know that Luke and Sam have even met in person yet.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's gonna be awesome. Hope that you all will be there. We're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip off for that game is at 8:00. So the watch party is gonna get going about 7:30. So again, Caribe Royale Orlando, 8101 World Center Drive. Hope to see you all there. And Kevin, you and I talked the last episode where we did kind of like our mailbag. At the beginning, we had talked about the Magic had made a kind of a cryptic social media post referring to the Orlando Magic Hall of Fame, which told us like, hey, they're about to announce that somebody else is going to be inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame. And who did we think it would be? And we threw some different names, but one that was pretty obvious that was a possibility was Dwight Howard. And it's Dwight Howard. I think it's March 24th. Yeah, when the Magic play the Lakers. Pretty ironic. But yeah, maybe picked a better night. There's going to be a lot of Lakers fans in attendance.
Gee, you think?
So that'll be interesting. Yeah, now they've got LeBron, they've got Luka. Luckily for us, it's possible that LeBron may not play in that game. He's got like this new groin thing that he's dealing with. Luka's got some back stuff going on. Be great for the Magic to get a win in that. But regardless, Dwight Howard is going into the Orlando Magic Hall of Fame, his rightful place. And before long, I would assume and hope that he'll be in the rafters as well with his jersey retired. But what was your reaction to this? And it seems like the reception has been mostly positive.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, not super surprising. That was the first guy on both of our lists. Like that should be next for the Hall of Fame. And so, yeah, not surprising. But yeah, the reaction, I haven't seen anything too crazy. It was kind of funny watching his reaction video. You know, he's like
with a
singing the song at the end
in the background.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, him singing the song at the end was pretty fun. So very cool. Just full transparency, I hate that it's the Lakers game. That makes my skin crawl for multiple reasons. The biggest one being like we lost him to the Lakers.
Right.
And so there's always that cloud hanging over our head, of course, of big man, leave Orlando, go to the Lakers. And so
he won a title eventually with the Lakers.
Right. So we honor him on the night when we're playing, of all the teams, the other 29 teams, 28 teams, I guess, we picked the Lakers. So I don't know. That really bothers me, but yeah, maybe that's the only night that was free on his calendar. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm just super excited. And you and I talked on the last episode about over the course of the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years, it really seems like the temperature in the fan base, whenever his name was brought up, has really changed and cooled off, or warmed, I guess, to Dwight is a better way of putting it. Like, it used to be like talking about Voldemort. Like, you couldn't even say his name without people just be like, F that dude, I hate him, he sucks. And now, like, seeing the fan base just really be excited to celebrate him, it is really cool. So excited for Dwight. And then, it seems like the only logical next step is hopefully in the next couple of years to retire that jersey. And no one should ever wear number 12 again, I think. Yep. And some more Magic news, Kev. Late last week, it was announced that the Magic's game on March 16th in Cleveland is being flexed to national TV, and the Magic and Cavs will now face off on Sunday, March 16th at 1 o'clock on ABC. Like, outside of Game 7 last year, this is the most like prime time Magic game that I can remember since Dwight was here. And it just comes against the team that is absolutely steamrolling everybody. They just finished steamrolling the Bucks to win their 13th game in a row. And the Magic cannot stop getting killed on national TV. In fact, lost to this very same team 2 weeks ago by 40 on national TV.
Yep.
I just find this incredibly ironic, depressing, and hilarious all at the same time.
First off, I have to correct you. Tonight was the Cavs' 14th straight win. So they won 14 in a row. Put some respect on their name, Jonathan.
Which you and I have talked about this. This is now their third occurrence this year of winning at least 12 games in a row. The Magic have never won 12 games in a row in franchise history, and this team has done it 3 times this year. So good for them.
Same. Yeah. So honestly, Jonathan, when that tweet came across my phone, I genuinely, when I say I did a double take, I legit did a double take. Like I looked down and I looked again, like, what? Couldn't believe it. Yeah. Like, if you look at the schedule, like the slate of games that day, ABC's contractually obligated to have a game that day. So they had Sixers Mavericks. Think about what is going on with those two teams, okay? Sixers, Embiid's done. They're a mess. Literal dumpster fire. Dallas, well, you don't need me to tell you what's going on in Dallas right now.
Dude,
so
Kyrie
they yanked that game.
Yeah,
exactly. They yanked that game. There were the other games available weren't that good. And so they just said, hey, let's put this 53 win, or I guess 54 win now, Cleveland team on national TV. I don't care who they're playing. So all in all, though, here comes the optimist in me. What a great opportunity to show the world what we're made of.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of. Showing the world once again what the Orlando Magic are made of.
Yeah, that's going to be an adventure. No, hey, look, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was shocking news that I certainly did not expect.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about the Milwaukee game in a little bit, but I was not able to watch that game live. My wife's cousin was married Saturday night, so we were at the wedding. I was following along vicariously through our group chat conversations and just checking the box score, and then I got to listen to the last few minutes on the radio in the car from the parking lot while the reception was kind of winding down. But for everything that I've heard and read and talking to you, like, this feels, or it felt like, a signature win Saturday night. And if the Magic are able to turn things around to a certain extent, this is going to be the game that you can point back to and say, hey, it started here. So you've got a couple of games, 3 games this week before that Saturday game, all on the road, all against, well, New Orleans. I wouldn't necessarily call them a quality opponent, but for us, it will be at this point. Like, you can't go into that game expecting to win. So if the Magic can get a couple of wins throughout the week heading into that Sunday game, and then if Paolo, Franz, and I don't know, Cole Anthony goes crazy again, and if you beat Cleveland, if they're on like a 16-game win streak, 17-game win streak at that point, and you beat them on the road on ABC in front of the entire country, that could do a lot for the vibes going, down the last, what'll that be, 12 or 13 games of the season at that point.
100%. I'm not holding my breath, but yes, you are correct. That would definitely change the vibes.
Yeah, don't hold your breath for that. But okay, let's go back to Thursday night against Chicago, a game, and obviously they've moved on from a ton of guys. Zach LaVine has been traded, and no Nikola Vucevic in this game, no Lonzo Ball. It didn't exactly feel like the Toronto game from the other night, where like they just pull everybody down the last few minutes of the game, definitely not trying to win the game. They didn't have a ton of options to go to, but leaving guys, like Kobe White and Josh Giddey, down in this game down the stretch, like they weren't going all out for the win, but they also weren't like tanking it away. And Kobe White was just cooking so much that ultimately it became too much for the Magic to handle. Like Paolo and Franz weren't by any means spectacular, but we kind of got what we had been asking for in terms of the supporting cast, where you have Wendell with 17 points. KCP has 19 points, one of his better games of the entire season. Cole Anthony was really good, 20 points, 6 of 12 from the floor, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block. Like, you got pretty much all the offensive contributions that you needed. And I think I said this after the game, and I think I jumped on the post game, or was that the Toronto game where I jumped on? I don't remember. I think it was the Toronto game that I jumped on the post game live with you last week. I don't think it was Thursday.
Yeah.
But this game felt like 123 points for this team needs to be enough to win, especially against a team like Chicago. And really what that came down to was like, you just could not stop Kobe White. 44 points on the evening, 16 of 28, 7 of 15 from behind the arc. Just didn't matter who we put in front of him, whether it was Franz, whether it was KCP, or especially when he got switched on Wendell Carter Jr., was just feasting the entire night and shooting the ball really well. And then, Paolo gets a decent look for 3. Wendell gets the, rebound, should have just tried to tip it in, but he comes down with it, tries to go back up with it. Clock expires, and the Magic lose this one 125-123. And it brought out like Sith Lord Kevin Tucker with the red drop lighting on the post game live, and was, I think, our 5th loss in a row at the time.
That's right.
And again, just another low point of the season. And of course that turned around, 48 hours later. But what was your takeaway from this game, and how are you feeling after it?
My first takeaway is less about the game and more about summarizing the 7-game homestand. Because we went into this with expectations of, hey, you need to go 5-2 on this homestand, at worst 4-3. You cannot do worse than 4-3. You probably need to go 5-2, right? And so when you turn around instead and go 1-6, that's problematic. But here's where it's a little bit different for me. Think about the games, okay? I'm trying to think what the first game was in that homestand before I even hold on. It was before Washington. Who was it? Memphis. Okay. So Memphis, it's a 1-possession game. You lose. Washington, obviously it's Washington. You win that game. Cleveland was not a 1-possession game, except when it was like 2-0, maybe. Golden State, though, that was a 1-possession game. Toronto 1, that was a 1-possession game. Toronto 2, that was a 1-possession game. Chicago, a 1-possession game. You are literally 1 possession away in 4 games, 5 games. What was it? 1, 2, 5 games away.
Out of the Magic's last 8 games, 6 of them have been classified as clutch games. So 5 or fewer points, 5 or few points with 5 or fewer minutes to go.
Yeah,
and you're 1-5 in those games.
Yeah, exactly. You are literally one possession in each of those games away from having, instead of a 1-6 homestand, it's a 6-1 homestand, maybe 5-2, right? Like, you are literally a play away in each of those games from doing it. So on the one hand, that's really frustrating. On the other hand, it's also, I don't want to say encouraging because the Magic didn't play well in those games, but it's at least something, right? Like, this, it's not like this team was getting blown out. They were close in every game. They just couldn't finish the job. Unlike Saturday, I know I'm jumping the gun, but Saturday was a little bit different in that the Magic had the lead and tried to give it away, but we'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, for me, it was more about the homestand and just how stinking close this team was, and once again, couldn't pull it off on Thursday night.
I will say this 5-game losing streak feels a lot better than the other 5-game losing streak that we had, like mid-January, where you lose to Milwaukee 122-93, you lose to Boston 121-94, you lose to Denver 113-100, you lose to Toronto 109-93, you lose to Portland 101-79. Jalen comes back for one game, you beat Detroit 112-113, you lose to Miami in double overtime. You lose to Portland 119-90. You lose to Utah 113-99. You lose to Golden State 104-99. And then you beat Sacramento. You lose to Denver 112-190. Like, that 3.5 week stretch there where it just felt like you were getting blown out every night or every other night. That felt terrible. This sucked, and it was especially frustrating because, like, each one of those games, it kind of felt you lost them differently to a certain extent. There were some similarities with, like, the Memphis game and the last Toronto game. That's like the one possession. Or people talk about the Chicago game, where there wasn't like a timeout at the end, even though Jamal was trying to call a timeout. This felt different because it's like, oh, at least we have a chance. Like, we're in these games. It was frustrating to a certain extent, but it wasn't like this team is just completely lifeless. Is the energy where we would like it to be? Is the defense where we would like it to be? Maybe not, but it's a heck of a lot closer than it was 3 weeks ago, right?
Right.
So it was frustrating because you lose to a team that on paper you should be able to beat. And it didn't help that it was Kobe White, who a lot of Magic fans had circled as a target at the trade deadline. The very next time that you see him, he goes for 44 points and is completely unstoppable against your team. And it's like, man, it would be really sick if we had that guy on our team.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that
definitely was a frustrating one.
Yeah. Jonathan, it's time for this week's Jam Hot Chicken Jam of the Week. And this one, a very important one. Very important one to what ended up being a very good win Saturday in Milwaukee. Late in this one. Actually, before I set this one up, this is a little bit controversial because some people are going to say, oh, what about the Anthony Black dunk? Technically, guys, it was not counted as a dunk. The NBA ruled it a layup. And if you watch the replay, you can kind of see why. It was a great play by AB. Should have been an M1, but not classified as a dunk. And so we're going with the clutch dunk from Wendell Carter Jr. late in this game. Some super good ball movement here by the Magic. Paolo with a drive, kick out to KCP, who swings it to Cole with a little fake and then drives in and shovels it off to Wendell, who has a tough finish at the rim. Not only was it a tough finish in Giannis's face, but again, it gave the Magic, I believe it was a 5-point lead with 25 seconds left and ended up being the difference in the game. And so, yeah, big shout out to Wendell for that big throwdown, which is this week's Jam Hot Chicken Jam of the Week. Jam Hot Chicken, one of the sponsors of the show. They're amazing there, and they're proudly serving the city beautiful, bringing jams, culture, and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park, located at 400 West New England Avenue, Suite 13 in Hannibal Square. We love Jam Hot Chicken because they love the Orlando Magic and love this fan community. Oh, yeah, and they also make the best chicken in Central Florida. So if you're in Winter Park, you definitely got to go check them out. But before you do, you can check them out at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media. And you can also visit jamhotchickenfl.com to check out their menu, online ordering, and all things Jam Hot. So again, big shout out to Jam Hot Chicken for sponsoring the show. And next time you go to Jam Hot, just let them know that the Six Man Show sent you.
Kevin, I am going to the Players Championship, the PGA tournament in Jacksonville on Thursday for the opening round. Doing a little pit stop in Orlando on Wednesday, so I will be at Jam Hot Chicken, I believe, on Wednesday. Very much looking forward to that. This episode is also brought to you by Eric Broche, Daniel Anderson, Magic Matt, Goody 93, Luis Rosario, and Gear 95 Shred. Eric Broche is our newest patron who joined this week, so welcome, Eric, to the family. Really appreciate your support. We give a special shout out to brand new patrons whenever we have them. And then the rest of the gang that I mentioned, those are some of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons, again, which we give a special shout out each and every episode to a group of those patrons. These are the folks that help financially support the show and help us do everything that we do. So if you like the content that we produce or like the live in-person events and things like that we set up, head on over to patreon.com/the6man show, where for as little as $2 a month, you can help support the show, help us do everything that we do. And if you're a current patron, keep an eye on the Patreon over the course of the next day or so. Let's just say we may be making some dreams come true over the course of the next few weeks here. So if you're a patron, just keep an eye out over there. But again, if you'd like to join the Patreon and help us do everything that we do, you can join in on the fun over at patreon.com/the6man show. Let's get back to the episode. Don't want to spend too much time talking about that one. I do want to talk about this game from Saturday. And again, I was not able to watch this one live, and I didn't think to DVR it. And League Pass won't let me watch my favorite team that I pay money to watch for just yet. So I'm going to have to wait at least a couple, days before I can just go and watch all the possessions of this game. But Kev, I know you did it already on the post game, but I guess for me and maybe some other listeners that didn't get to see this one live, can you just kind of talk us through and talk about kind of the flow of this one?
Sure. Well, first off, this team got off to a flying start from three. The team started 8 of 12 from the three, all in the first quarter. Crazy. They were hitting everything. Multiple guys were knocking them down in the first quarter. But obviously, it's the Orlando Magic. You're never going to sustain that. And they didn't, spoiler alert. But no, they shot the ball well to start the game. It set the tone. The things that stood out to me for this game, number one, the defensive intensity was there all night long. And coming against the Bucks, that's tough, right? That's a team that can be very frustrating to play against. At least watching, I get frustrating because Giannis it's just bully ball. Like, it's unstoppable when he gets ahead of steam and drives in the paint. Like, what are you going to do? You can try to take a charge. It's probably not going to work, But the Magic, I thought, did a relatively good job on him, but more so they shut down everybody else. That was the really important thing from this game. Giannis got his, Dame got his in stretches of this game, but they didn't let the rest of their guys torch them. Again, there were a couple moments. I'm thinking of Taurean Prince, who hit 3 threes in a row at one point, I think in the third quarter, which was a big deal. But outside of that, Brook Lopez had a 3 or 2 maybe, but yeah, they just didn't let the role players kill you, which Milwaukee has some really good, really solid role players that can absolutely win a game for them. So yeah, that was huge. Again, the defense was great. Cole was just everywhere. I made the mistake during the post-game live of saying this was my favorite Cole game in probably 2 years. Some people thought that was I said his best game. That's not what I said. I said it was his favorite. A lot of people pointed out the Miami comeback game as being his best game in 2 years, which it is. It is. That's where I take the L. That was. But this is still one of my...
It's not an L if you're just saying favorite.
Yeah, well, no, I forgot about that game. But the defensive intensity that we saw from Cole last night was...
the block on Giannis was...
The block on Giannis, but that was
might be the singular best defensive play of his career.
Yeah, but that was just it wasn't just he had that one play. He had multiple plays where he was just everywhere. He's never going to be known as a guy who one-on-one defender of a good or elite talent in the league. He's never going to be a guy that's called on to do that. But he is someone who can be active, can be physical, can be scrappy, all those things. And yeah, he did all those things against Milwaukee, which you love to see. So that was huge. The defense was big. We held them to 109 in the game. I think they were under 50 at half. I want to say they had 49 at the half, 47 maybe. However, if there are negatives, it's how 47 at the half. Yeah. If there are negatives, it is how how the end of the game went, where the Magic allowed the Bucks a chance to win the game at the buzzer on a Damian Lillard triple after a Magic turnover that I swore was going to go in. Like, again, given how these last few games have gone with the clutch losses.
And given some text messages earlier in the night.
That's right. Someone in our text group called it. Even when the Magic were up 14 or 15, they said the Dame buzzer beater at the 3 is going to be really painful or something like that.
Someone named Tevin. Oh, now the last name would be bad if I said like that.
I've been called it many times. His name was
Tevin.
That's right. Rhymes with Tevin. No, I did say that. So when Dame let that shot go, I was like, whatever. Like, of course, this is how it goes. But he missed. So that was cool. And the last thing I'll say, what I really loved about that moment, I don't know if you've gotten to see it, but like Paolo and Franz, legitimate. Just
I needed that.
They needed that. And what did they do?
No, I said I needed it.
Oh, yeah, you did, and so did they. But they didn't like celebrate by themselves. They went to each other. And I loved saying that. They were fired up together.
Guys, I don't know what's going to happen this summer. As long as those guys like each other and want to be here and want to keep playing basketball together, ultimately, I think we're going to be just fine.
Absolutely.
So, like, seeing them celebrate and know that win meant a lot to them, and just knowing how much, whenever they talk about one another, you can tell that they both realize that, like, hey, if I'm playing with this guy and we can figure it out, like, we're going to be able to win a lot of games. As long as we have that, if we have nothing else, that is a major positive.
That's right. Absolutely. And they obviously were super pumped about it. So, but yeah, big win. Another thing I said on the post game live, like, that's a great win, no matter if your team's playing poorly like they are right now or really well. Like, if this win happened in December when this team was playing well, I would have been equally as fired up. It's a great win. Like, that's a really good team. You've really struggled in Milwaukee over the years. They had all their guys. Well, all minus one, I guess.
Which some people have pointed out that, like, yeah, we can beat the Bucks without Bobby Portis, but Bobby Portis is a bit of a problem.
He is a problem. But
recently,
I mean, we beat him without Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair.
But yeah, it's a great win. It's a really good win. The ultimate question is, like, are we back? And the answer is absolutely not. It's one game. You can't react to one game like that and say we're back, but it's certain you have to, if you're going to come back, you have to start somewhere. And so that could be it, but we'll know real fast. You know, playing Houston on Monday, like, obviously that's a very good basketball team, and we'll see how much of this could potentially carry over to that one.
Yeah, my major takeaways, you know, listening to you and reading, you know, a lot of people talking about the game on Twitter and looking at the box score and some of the highlights. Really good Paolo Banchero game, especially down the stretch. He was fantastic. Franz started off rough, but had some strong stretches to begin the fourth. Cole Anthony was otherworldly, I think is the way that you put it, really on both ends for stretches of this game. And then Anthony Black was really good as well. 11 points off the bench, 2 rebounds, assist, a steal, 5 of 9 from the floor. What we've been talking about, Franz and Paolo have a pretty good game. If the defense plays well, you just kind of need like one, maybe 1.5 guys to step up. Yep. And you're not going to get 22 points out of Cole every night, but like, we've got to get double digits out of Wendell, double digits out of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And then we need another guy to be around like 17, 18 points. Yep. If we had that consistently, I feel like it could really turn things around for this team pretty quickly. And Cole deserves all the credit in the world for as well as he has been playing the last couple of months. But I still think the biggest question for Cole is, can you trust him to do this consistently and not just for 2 or 3 months at a time? Because that's been the issue, right? Like, last year, started the year really well, then really cooled off. This year, started really rough, has heated up as the year has gone on. The year before last started pretty rough. The last 44 games of the season, I think it was, he was awesome. We need Cole to be solid more of like 60 to 65 games a year, right? Like, we need like 3 out of 4 games to be pretty solid from Cole. And if he has, you know, a stinker, you know, once a week, you can probably live with that. unfortunately, for the most part, the last 4 seasons especially, it's been just like not even like an every other night kind of thing where it's like, okay, he didn't have a great game last game. We know he's going to bounce back. It's like he struggles for 2 months and then he's really good for 2 months, which when you think about that and how it all comes out in the wash, I guess it's kind of the same thing, but it doesn't exactly feel like the same thing when you're going weeks and weeks like, hey, like we really need this guy to step up. And I don't mean to lump all of that on Cole, because point to a name on this box score and we could have an entire conversation about them, whether it's Wendell or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope or Jonathan Isaac or Anthony Black or Gary Harris or some of the other young guys, or even like a guy like Goga Batadze. But Cole is just such an X factor when he is on. And when you think of how likable he is and how much energy he brings, not only to the team, but to the fan base, it continues to be frustrating that we cannot just get that guy all the time, because if we did, it would really be a game changer for the franchise.
Yeah, 100% agree. But I feel like we've said that so many times, not just about Cole, but like how many times over the last 2 seasons have we said we just needed one more player to step up? And I don't even mean step up to the tune of 30. I mean step up to the tune of like 14. Like, we're not asking for a lot. And so, yeah, you're right. Speaking specifically of Cole, like that's part of what impressed me so much about this game and why it's one of my favorite games he's ever played is, again, because it was both sides of the ball. He wasn't perfect. Like, yeah, he got beat sometimes. Yeah, he made a couple mistakes. He had a couple turnovers, 5 fouls, had some really stupid fouls. He said it himself at the halftime interview with Dante. He's like, man, I had some stupid fouls. But it's just the energy and the focus, and the biggest thing I feel for Cole is when he's not forcing things. Like when he's just playing basketball and letting the game come to him, he's just a totally different player. Like we've seen stretches where Cole's not playing well, and I think he tries to force things to try to make a play, to try to fix, mistakes he's made, and he just basically doubles down and makes them worse. And so, yeah, it's a huge part of his game when he's able to just, play basically either what the defense gives him or, whatever. So yeah, again, super happy with how he's played lately, and Saturday against the Bucks. Again, one of my favorite games I've seen from him.
He's one of the most beloved players in the fan base, like in the fan community. And there are a lot of like Cole Anthony true believers out there. To when he has a game like this, they're coming out of the woodworks. I told you, this is why you never give up on Cole Anthony, and so on and so forth. It's like, yeah, like just kind of read the room a little bit though. Like those of us who are critical of him at times, it's not completely baseless. And that's why I don't go out of my way when people are like, oh, I love Cole Anthony. Cause like, yeah, I get it. Like I really do. I see the flashes and everything like that. It's just, we need this version of Cole Anthony more often. Yeah. And I believe he can get there, but I also understand the people that are like, yeah, I don't, or I'm not sure that he can get there and be consistent. But all of that to say is like, he deserves a ton of credit for how he played in this game. And when I saw the block on Giannis, I was showing it people at my at the wedding at my table that don't care about basketball. I was like, yo, check this out. And then they're like, yeah, cool. I'm like, okay, whatever. You go do the freaking cha-cha slide while I'm over here, refreshing the box score. I wanted to shout out Jake Chapman. Every time I get to listen to Jake on the radio, like if I'm not able to watch a half, or in this case an entire game, I was getting your texts like as the game had finished, and I was getting like the tweet updates, so I knew that the game had ended. But listening to Jake's call at the end, he's like, Magic win, big dub. I'm in the car. I'm like, yeah, let's go, Jake. Like I'm all fired up, even though I already knew the outcome. So just shout out to Jake. I feel like he just does a really great job, and his the passion comes through on those broadcasts. But
that's right.
Big win. I mean, I don't think it really moves the needle, in terms of the standings. I think at this point, like it would just be awesome to be in the 7-8 game and have home court in the 7-8 game. I would really love to stay out of the 9-10 game. Those of you who maybe not are super familiar with the plan, There's a 7-8 game. There's a 9-10 game. The winner of the 7-8 game becomes the 7 seed. The loser of the 7-8 game plays the winner of the 9-10 game, and then the loser of the 8 game and the winner of the 9-10 game, they play, and then whoever wins goes on to the playoffs. Whoever loses is gone. So if you're in the 9-10 game, you have to win 2 games in a row, potentially, if you're the 10 seed, 2 road games in a row to play your way into the playoffs. I think the Magic are mostly safe from being the 10 seed, but I don't want to be the 9 seed to have to win 2 games in a row to make it into the playoffs. So my goal for the Magic the rest of the way here is just be the 7 seed. Don't be the 8 seed, be the 7 seed. Give yourself home court advantage, get the Kia Center crowd behind you, win that game, get into the playoffs. Hearing Paolo talk after this Bucks game about how important it is to him to make the playoffs, admittedly has swayed the way that I feel about the playoffs. If Paolo thinks it's important, bro, just get in. I don't care if you get annihilated in 4 games. Just get in. There is still value in these guys playing in hostile environments and big games. And hey, if they play really well and they steal a game on the road, that'll be awesome. And if by some act of God and miracle, they were able to pull off a first round upset and make the second round, that would be awesome too. But I would be a little bit scared that the front office would be like, see, we're fine. We don't have to make any moves.
Yeah.
But have you changed your mind at all? I mean, I think you were already kind of like, no, I want to make the playoffs, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah.
I was more so like, I don't really know if I love the idea of getting blown out by 20 a game in the playoffs, but did that change your mind at all?
Well, before we go there, I was going to say, you said, you really want the ceiling, the home court 7-8. I'm sitting here looking at us being 5.5 games back of the Pistons. I'm thinking, we own the tiebreaker. We own the tiebreaker.
You said we're nowhere near being able to say that we're back.
No, I know.
We can't even think about the 6th seed until we're officially back.
You're right. No, we won't. That would be very fun to me, a 6-3. But yeah, no, give me the 7-8 seed or 7-8 game, excuse me. But here's that like bit of gamesmanship. Would you rather be the 7 seed and play the Boston Celtics, or the 8 seed and play the raging hot Cleveland Cavaliers that just beat you by 40?
Is there another option?
Yeah, you'll lose the play-in and don't go at all.
Yeah, I mean, looking at let's just theorize with Detroit right now. So one, they are up 9 with 10.5 to go against Portland. Then they have 2 straight games against Washington. They have 2 games left against New Orleans. They have a game against Dallas.
Wow.
A game against Toronto.
Wow.
Like
they're in good shape.
It's not happening. I don't see us catching Detroit.
No.
If Jalen Suggs was coming back, it would be different. But Jalen Suggs is out for the season now. So, yeah.
But you haven't answered my question. Would you rather Boston or Cleveland? Because my answer is still Cleveland. I'd rather play Cleveland. I really would.
Dude, Cleveland has put the beat down on us this year.
I know.
Like you lose by 11 earlier in the year, but that was without Paolo. That was the first game without Paolo.
Yeah, that was tough.
Then you just get absolutely demolished a few weeks ago. You lose by 40.
I remember Boston, that game.
I mean, we beat Boston at home in Detroit with Jalen, with no Franz, with no Paolo.
We beat Boston. Did you hear what you just said? We beat Boston at home in Detroit?
You just December.
Oh, okay. That's what you meant. I was
dyslexia is a heck of a drug. Yeah, I don't know, man. It does feel like the thing that I hate about the Cleveland matchup, and Boston to a certain extent, but it's the fact that it's Allen and Mobley.
Right.
Kenny Atkinson is going to have one of those 2 guys on the floor at all times.
For sure. Yeah.
In a playoff series. The Magic just still struggle, for the most part, so mightily with a rim protector.
Yeah.
Need to look at the box score from Friday night. Brook Lopez played 26 and a half minutes, only had one block. Did he really not feel like a factor defensively?
No, not at all.
Because that's different from, the last couple of times we've played against Milwaukee where Brook Lopez has been a real problem.
I would argue Jericho Sims is more of an impact on defense than
3 blocks. Lopez, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just anytime you go against I don't want to say above average, but like not necessarily elite, but like an upper tier rim protector, the Magic just seem to struggle with those types of matchups. And I think that really worries me about Cleveland. But Boston, man, like Cleveland's got a lot of firepower as well. I think we're both we talked about this before we started recording. Cleveland has had a insane regular season, but we kind of both want to see them continue to do this in the playoffs before we just crown them as the Eastern Conference champs.
Yep.
Like, I will fully buy into them as contenders when they make the finals. Like, if they can beat Boston in a 7-game series, then I'll be like, okay, they have a legitimate shot at winning the title. But until I see them do that, I'm, for whatever reason, just still wary. But yeah, man, maybe Cleveland. I don't know, but I just feel like you're done in 5 games at best against either of those teams right now.
Yep, it feels that way. But I feel like Cleveland, if everything was going to fall your way and a team was going to crumble in the first half, I feel like Cleveland would be the more likely, not likely at all, but more likely than Boston. Like, I don't see Boston crumbling at all. So I don't know. I'm team Cleveland. Plus, I just don't want Key Center to be filled with Boston fans for a playoff series. That's not fun. So that's probably part of why I'm leaning that way. But give me Cleveland, give me the 8 seed, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, if the last game that we played Cleveland is any indication, there will be a lot of Cleveland fans in Orlando too.
That's true. Yeah, that was tough, but they were also just a lot louder. They had about 40 reasons to be a lot louder. 40-point win. So
let's talk about the week ahead. Monday at Houston. Like, we're in the midst of a really tough road trip here, y'all. Man, daylight savings time is, my brains are scrambled eggs.
Yeah, yo.
Monday at Houston, Thursday at New Orleans, Friday at Minnesota. We'll be at Stadium Club, Cree Royale, Orlando. Come through. Holler at your boy. Sunday at Cleveland, 1 o'clock, ABC.
That's still funny to me. Okay. Here's do I take the samples?
I'm telling you, 1-3. You'll be lucky to beat the Pelicans.
That's what I was about to say. Do I take the sample size of the first 3 games of last week, or do I take the sample size of the 1 game against Milwaukee?
Or do we take the sample size of the last 2 months?
Right.
Prove me wrong. That's where I'm at with this team right now. Prove me wrong.
Here's where I am. If we were playing different teams other than Cleveland and Houston, and if we weren't playing a good Minnesota team on the second night of a back-to-back, I would find somewhere in there for a second win. But you're Cleveland, no. Houston, probably not. And Minnesota on a back-to-back, I just can't do it. So yeah, I have to go 1-3 as well. It's hard to find another way to get any more than that.
Don't let us win 2 games this week. Certainly don't let us win 3 games this week. You win 3 games this week,
well,
the Are We Back meter is going to be
you better not let us win 4 though. You better not let us. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen.
No, I will literally probably be in tears after that Sunday game if we win 4 straight this week.
Sheesh, yeah, that'd be crazy. But yeah 1-3.
1-3. Okay, Kev, I really don't have much else to theorize and ponder upon and pontificate.
I'm done.
This pod.
I need to go to bed. This time change in life.
My brain is a legit Slurpee.
All right.
Okay, folks. Friday, Magic at Minnesota. You, us, everybody, Magic fans together, loving, rooting on our team,
making it
eating,
magic,
drinking. What'd you say?
Making it magic.
Making it magic. Making it lovely magic.
Making sweet magic.
This Friday, Stadium Club, Caribe Royale, Orlando, 8101 World Center Drive. The whole freaking gang is sliding, except Fazan and David and Ryan and some others that obviously live across the country. But we're all going to be there. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be awesome. The first 5 minutes will at least be fun. Hopefully the whole game will be fun, but the experience in itself will definitely be fun. Hopefully, regardless of the outcome.
Food will be great. Drinks will be fun too. So
the company will be great. That's, it's not always about the wins and the losses. Sometimes it's about the friends we made along the way.
Okay. All right.
And the tears we cried during this season. But yeah, Friday, Stadium Club, be there, be square. Be there or be dead to us, okay? That's what I'll say. Maybe not dead to us, but I'll be mildly disappointed in you for a couple of minutes, and then I'll forgive you.
Yeah.
All right, that is going to do it for this one. We're going to go get some sleep. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to The Sixth Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See you.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!